with the returning guest of Epiphany, Donna Rice Hughes, President and CEO of Enough is Enough, an internationally known internet safety expert, author, and speaker, and producer. Donna, welcome back to Epiphany.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
So you recently penned a piece in the Washington Times. Give us an overview of this piece that you wrote, this article you wrote.
Oh, goodness. Thank you. Yes. As you said, it ran in the Washington Times.
I'm Washington Times. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It covered a lot of content. We started with China's policy. Let me call it this: China first policy. And it's going to make sense as I explain. China recently banned AI chatbots or AI companions, as we sometimes call them, in China. Not just for kids, but for adults. Now, this is really, really significant because we need to understand how these AI chatbots work. Mm-hmm. All right. Whether they're Chinese AI chatbots or they're American made, they actually build their algorithms around taking private information and data from the people who use them, including kids. Now, this is why I call them digital spies, because they're collecting data all the time to build their AI models, their AI algorithms. Now, what this also allows these AI chatbots to do is to become digital enablers. What do I mean by that? You've heard many stories, most likely, of these AI chatbots mirroring people's feelings, becoming children's best friends, et cetera, et cetera. And the way they're able to do that is because they've collected all this data on all these people and all these kids to make them appear very, very empathetic and emotionally connect with their users, whether they be kids or adults. Now, why is this? This is dangerous for a lot of reasons. And of course, Americans' AI chatbots like ChatGPT, they're all doing the same thing, all right? This isn't just limited to China. What's interesting about China is that they're protecting their own kids, but their AI chat companions are still going to be used here, which is why Congress needs to pass AI chatbot legislation. So just this week in the Senate, Senator Cruz, there were 5 bills being marked up. 3 of them dealt specifically with this problem. All right. And I don't think that they were thinking China. All right. They're just thinking about the fact that these AI chatbots are not safe. We know that kids have committed suicide. Some of these chatbots have actually helped kids write suicide notes, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a lot of mental distress as well. 1 in 3 children in the U.S. Actually prefer, in a survey, AI chatbots over real human being relationships.
Wow.
Yeah, 1 in 3. So think about that.
Wonder why? Like, why is it? Why is it? Because that's interesting.
Yeah, because, like I said, they become digital enablers. So these chat companions aren't acting like a real human. They're listening, they're mirroring back what they're hearing from their user, in this case, children, and they're not giving any pushback, right? Mm-hmm. So they become these trusted companions. And you know, and in real life, you're going to get some pushback. You're going to get people to disagree with you. And if, in the case of a child, you know, a child may say something or do something, and the parent says, no, that's not okay. A chatbot isn't going to do that. So, and the reason why is because their algorithms have been trained off collecting millions and millions and millions of interchanges with other kids around the world to make them programmed this way. Mm-hmm. All right. So the Senate Commerce Committee under Senator Cruz looked at 5 bills this week. 3 had to do with AI chat companions. So they advanced all 3 of the AI chatbot bills, which is good, out of committee. And I can go into those if you want me to. But one I think is really interesting because Enough is Enough dealt with this earlier this year. are the AI chatbots embedded in children's toys. And I mentioned this in the article. We actually put AI toys on our naughty and nice list at Christmas time. Why? Because now they've gone a step further. They put these trusted little AI spies and digital, enablers inside teddy bears, and robots. So it makes it even a more trusted device or toy for a child. And many of these actually say safe for kids as young as 2 years old. All right. So they're putting restrictions on all of these, which is a good thing. Now, it still has got to go to the full Senate for a vote. One of the other critical pieces of legislation that's been now 3 years in the making is the Kids Online Safety Act. It doesn't deal with digital companions or chatbots or AI. It's just simply calling on these big tech companies to make their platforms, especially social media and gaming platforms, safer. Believe it or not, this is the third year. All right, this was introduced. And by the way, all these bills are nonpartisan or bipartisan. This was introduced originally by Senator Blumenthal, who's a Democrat, and Senator Blackburn, who was a Republican. So that's the good news. These are bipartisan pieces of legislation, but, it's hard to get anything passed right now. So when you asked about the article, the other thing that I put in here is that we've got a lot of enemies. Yes, China is an enemy. Okay, we know that. Their China first policy, they did this with TikTok. TikTok was safe in China for China's kids, but not for our kids. That was on purpose. But second enemy here with all this legislation is the big tech community themselves. Let me give you some numbers. These companies, 11 of them in total, and some of them are AI, some of them are like the Metas of the world, Meta, Google, et cetera, Microsoft even, are spending $230,000 a day fighting this legislation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do we do? Like, people listening, okay? I know it's in the legislation, but what do we do, Don? How do we support this effort?
Well, the first thing you can do is just be aware of it. We keep everyone updated on our site and on social media, but if you haven't already, just go to enough.org. That's one of our websites. We've got two. That's enough.org, and a little screen will pop up, and it'll say sign up for our free news updates. So we will keep you informed as far as what's going on, and we will oftentimes give you an opportunity to call your member of Congress, et cetera, to push this through. But the good news is in the Senate, these bills hopefully will go to a floor vote. What we really need, and I know many of your listeners are people of prayer, is pray. Pray for Senator Thune to bring these bills to a floor vote. That's really important. We've had bills passed last year out of Senate Judiciary and Commerce Committee unanimously, and we couldn't get floor votes. I don't know what Senator Thune's issue is there, but if anybody's got a relationship with Senator Thune, give him a call. We need all this kids online safety legislation to get to a floor vote because it will pass. We know it will pass. So that's really, really important. And there's another piece of legislation called the Screen Act. This one's really near and dear to my heart. This deals with pornography, online pornography, hardcore pornography. I've been fighting this battle for 33 years. There still is no age verification to keep underage kids off these hardcore porn sites online.
Wow.
Yeah, we had two pieces of legislation get signed into law in the 90s. I worked on both of those. Neither one went into effect. They were challenged, went to the Supreme Court, and were never implemented. Long story short, this is the next attempt, the Screen Act. It did get a majority of the votes, but they didn't have a quorum, which makes, I don't understand why, but they didn't. They got the other ones through, but not this one. So we really need that to get passed because kids are accessing hardcore pornography that's not even protected speech for adults. Because it meets the federal obscenity standards. That's another whole conversation, Vanessa. I'm sorry for the deep dive here, but what does all this mean? This means that we're in a war. But it's not just a war against China, not just a war against big tech, not just a war to get Senator Thune to do his job. It's a spiritual war. The enemy is seeking to kill, steal, and destroy our children. Mm-hmm. And if he can't get them aborted in the womb, then he's after them as soon as they're born, and this is one of the key ways. I can give you numbers and data, but I will just tell you that kids are dying. They're committing suicide. Their lives are being irreparably harmed in many ways because of all of the dangers in the online world. It doesn't mean the internet is bad. It's not bad. It's got a lot of good to offer. But the bad guys, the criminals, the traffickers, the pornographers, the child pornographers, the sextortionists, use this technology to get to our kids. And that's what we've got to stop. We've got to get our laws enforced. We've got to get them aggressively funded, and we need new laws. But most of all, we need parents to pay attention and know that their kids are not immune from any of this. They've got to protect their own kids. And that's what we focus on at Enough is Enough as well. We put the tools and the resources in your hands to make sure your kids are safe on any platform they're using, whether it's a smartphone, a gaming device, whatever it is.
So give us an overview, Donna, of Enough is Enough. Give our listeners an understanding of exactly what it is and how it came to be.
Oh, yes. We started in 1994, so we were the first internet safety group in America. We began at the advent of the internet, and this is really a God thing. He brought this to my attention and to our attention as a very young nonprofit. But we actually changed our mission in '94 just to focus on this alone. And and our initial concerns then were the fact that this hardcore pornography and child pornography and pedophiles were using the pre-internet. This is before email. This is even before the World Wide Web to push this content and to push what they were doing, this criminal activity and content out. We said, we've got to get on top of this. And we did. Unfortunately, we won a lot of battles. We lost more. And now this is a movement to protect kids online. The good news is that Congress is on board for the most part. Big tech is still fighting this because they don't want regulation. They don't want accountability. And another thing that just came up is that, I've talked about this on your show before, there have been some recent verdicts against these big tech companies. One big one was in New Mexico, where New Mexico Attorney General, they found Meta guilty of knowingly allowing kids to access explicit content on their platforms. And just recently, I believe it was yesterday, the court, and that was a $375 million verdict. What just came down this week is that they're fining Meta another $567 million. 420 of that is just to treat kids who have been harmed on their platforms. So This is big money talks, right? They're paying attention to these big fines, right? Yeah. Is it enough to make changes? Probably incrementally, but we still need this legislation to make it stick. So in the meantime, parents and grandparents listening, just recognize that your good kids, your smart kids, they're vulnerable. I've never talked to a parent that didn't tell me, my kid was a good, smart kid. I can't believe this happened.
Give us, again, what can we do for parents listening that really want to make a difference? What can they do? Tell us again what we can do. Sometimes we hear this stuff and people feel like overwhelmed. So what can we do? What actions can we take?
Well, the first thing you can do is become educated and equipped to protect the children in your life. I would say go to our website at internetsafety101.org. That's internetsafety101.org. That entire site is dedicated to educating, equipping, and empowering parents, grandparents, and caregivers to protect their kids. All right? So we deal with protecting them from pornography, protecting them on online gaming platforms, on social media platforms, on mobile technology, from traffickers, predators, child pornographers. Everything's broken out. It's very simple, to follow. We've been told it's one of the best site that people have seen. Please go there. Everything is free. We've also got free guides. You can download little quick guides, and then implement the safety measures. There are common sense measures like having regular conversations with your kids, being your child or your grandchild's safe person to come to. You don't want them to be afraid to come to you because something bad's happened. So you want to be that safe person and don't overreact, because you're going to hear some stuff that are going to probably freak you out at times. But your kids don't want you to freak out. That may be why they're not coming to you. So build that atmosphere of trust around them from an early age. I would also say limit screen time significantly, and don't introduce screens to your kids before you have to. Also, there are safe phones on the market that are not necessarily smartphones. We've got a whole chart on what those are, the features, like Trumi, Gab, and Bark, and other ones. So when your kid wants that smartphone, there are other alternatives, parents. And also don't forget online gaming platforms. They're a pedophile's dream come true. This is one of the places where they're grooming kids the most. So the first thing to do is start in your own home. Start with the kids in your own life. You have to do it because you're the first line of defense. We've got everything laid out for you as easy as we can to make it simple. If you sign up for our newsletters, please do that. The other thing you can do is support groups like ours, because we're a nonprofit. We're out there trying to protect your kids, but we need the financial resources to do that.
Donna Rice Hughes, thank you so much for being with us. We ran out of time. Thanks for sharing with us all that you're doing at Enough is Enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.